2, verse number 37. Reading out of the ESV, it says, now when they heard this, they were cut. That phrase, they were cut, katanusomai is the term. They were cut, katanusomai. It means to be stabbed. They were stabbed to the heart. They said to Peter and the rest of the apostles, brothers, what shall we do? And Peter said to them, repent, turn to, and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Jesus Christos, for the forgiveness of your harmatias. And you will receive the gift, say gift. Thank God for this wonderful gift. Thank God for giving us God, the Holy Spirit. Verse number 41, it says, so those who received his words were baptized, and there were added that day about 3,000 souls to this infant church. Amen. God bless you. At this today, notice that it says, so those who received his word, those who received his word. Talking about Peter preaching. The term for proclamation, caruso, it means to proclaim. Peter, he proclaimed a specific message that highlighted a specific person on the day of Pentecost. This is the day of Pentecost. And those who received what Peter said, they were baptized. Now, you got to catch that because it was more than 3,000 people there, which means all heard, but then all then did not receive. Everyone heard the word, but they did not receive the word. But those who received the word, about 3,000 souls were added to the church, to this transforming message. Transforming. It gives you the word transform. It means to change the outward form, but inwardly it points to converting. It's a change. It points to converting. The term message, it deals with the underlining theme or ideal. This message that Peter preached that highlighted a specific thing. When the people heard what he said, the content of his message, it changed their minds instantaneously. God's word possessed the ability to change the heart of a person. A sermon preached by a spirit-filled preacher positively impacted a multitude of individuals who listened to God's word. I want to say that to you all again, because most of the time we come in the church, we really not listening to God's word. A sermon preached by a spirit-filled preacher positively impacted a multitude of individuals who listened to God's word. In verse number 37, the term heard in the ESV, in Greek, akuo, it means to hear with attention, to respect, or in respect to a teacher. It's to listen with attention, in respect to a teacher. They listen to God's word. Peter, he proclaimed a specific message. The message, my brothers and sisters, that Peter proclaimed content was scriptural / biblically based. This was not just any message. It was a biblically based message. A person will discover that it is only biblically based messages that are ultimately reliable. And its content is both inspirational and influential. The proclamation of Peter's message highlights this particular man. As it pertains to this man, there are some facts that demands a person's attention. Prophecy points to this man. A plethora of miracles, wonders, and signs surround this man. Terms such as perfect are used to describe this man. People rejected this man, but the Bible tells us that God, by his power, raised this man. This Jesus was crucified. Not just any Jesus, but this Jesus. And the question becomes this: do you know this Jesus? Mary's little baby, that Jesus. The bright in the morning star, that Jesus. The lily of the valley, that Jesus. What a message that Peter proclaimed to the people on the day of Pentecost. This transforming message affected the hearts, cardia, of those who listen. Look at verse number 37 again. Now, when they heard this, they were cut to the heart. This message, it did something to the heart. Preaching ought to do something to your heart. The term cardia, translated as heart, it means desires. Preaching should affect your desires. This term cardia, it also means feelings. Preachers, when preaching, when cut straight, should affect your feelings. This term cardia, it means impulses. Preaching, when proclaimed thoroughly, should affect your impulses. God's word possesses the potential of stopping a person in their tracks. You need God's word because God's word has a way of stopping you in your track before you blow it off. Notice the cut that the heart receives when a person listens to God's word. That's why some people don't want to listen to God's word, because it cuts to the core. God's word has a way of cutting to the core. Look at the phrase again, they were cut. If you read in the KJV, it says, and they were pricked. This phrase, they were cut, again in Greek, kind of nuso. My brothers and sisters, this message, it penetrates a person's impulse. So when the people heard the message, their response to what Peter said, catch their response. It was this: brothers, what shall we do? I thought about that. When you hear God's word, that question should pop up. Now, what must I do? God's word cuts the hearts. And not only does it cut, but it also convicts. It cuts and convicts. God's word has a way of cutting you, but then God's word also has a way of convicting you. When looking at this, there is a cutting, there's a convicting, and then there's a converting. When was the last time you heard God's word and it cut you? When was the last time you heard a preacher preach and it convicted you? When was the last time you heard God's word and it converted you? The conversion of the crowd is highlighted in the question the crowd asks. Look at the crowd. The crowd, they ask this wonderful question: brothers, what must we do? I tell you, sometimes you ought to pick up the Bible and check out the content of Peter's message. Verses 14 through 36, it gives you the content of Peter's message. You want to know what it is? In a sentence, this Jesus who came down 42 generations, you crucified. That's the content of the message. And when they heard what what Peter said, and then he said, the way you crucified him, you crunk up a jury with false charges, you marched him up a hill, and then you wicked men nailed him to a tree. And when they heard that, it cut their hearts. Not only did it cut their hearts, my brothers and sisters, it did something else. It convicted their heart. Then not only did it convict their heart, it converted their heart. Now, a conversion, it highlights a convincing. A convincing. The crowd was persuaded by the message. To convince, it means to persuade. So we must preach this gospel because this gospel is the only message that can bring about change. We share this gospel because this gospel brings about change. Do you know this Jesus? Mary's little baby. This Jesus, the bright and the morning star. This Jesus, the lily of the valley. The great I am. Do you know this Jesus, the one who took our sin up a hill, called Calvary, and died one Friday? Oh, yes, he did. But he didn't stay dead. Oh, no. Early the following Sunday morning, he got up with all power. Do you know him? Have you met him?
Thank you for tuning in to FBCB Ministries. For the full-length message or other resources, please visit our website at fbcbministries.com. Please follow, like, share our content on all social media platforms. Until next time, FBCB Ministries, offering Christ to the world, a church that is word-centered, word-led, and word-driven.